Good morning. My name is Cynthia Green. I'm coming to you live from Pacific Northwest. Originally from Bristol Bay, Alaska, I am attempting to do a 30-minute live. Hopefully, I don't pass the time like I did yesterday. Today, I am talking about be the light. The view that you're focusing on, it is better if and when you create beauty in that vision. And the light that comes from inner self reflection, that'll help light the way to the direction or the life you want. So that's the topic today. I got my verse from how the in the Bible it says to be a light. When wherever we are, there we are. And our attitude, a lot of the time, depending on the mood, will make your day successful, happy, and an encouragement to another. We are naturally seekers, I think, because as we go through life, we are always seeking. Seeking is a trait that each of us has, and we're always wondering and seeking, asking. It's a natural ability that we have, and we can hone it to a better outcome in our life by applying the better ways to do those things. We light the path so others may follow. And when we show others the best way to go that we've been through before, it always makes it easier for them, and it helps you to remember, keep doing that. In our traditional families, we have this notion or these ideas that we are to help one another as we go through life, and we're to be conscious of how, by watching, listening, and doing, not just being there and not actually seeing. When we're being light, we are not because of there's darkness, but because we on purpose decided to do something. When we decide on anything in life, whether it be going to Tai Chi, yoga, take a computer class, we acquire these skills, and somebody along the way says, "Oh, can you show me how?" That's what I mean by being the light. Because naturally, we are inclined to do those things that we have practiced, and we become very adept. So as we age, like a grandma, we are to encourage one another, especially the younger women, and to be the light. We've encountered many things. The young has not encountered so much. Well, there's some bullying in schools and competition and yelling for attention. And if we don't grow out of some of the things and we don't mature, then why is that? Our focus has to become on purpose. And how can we learn to focus our attention? To nowadays we have cell phones, TV, iPads, the the cell phone, they're all computerized. And if we're not careful, we'll scroll away our life rather than on purpose. And we just fill our days with or playing. I find myself doing that, especially when I lost my job and now I'm at home rather than reading the the content that I would like to talk about or brushing up on. I still have to yet to do AI. I find myself playing my grandson's game on my phone, and I recently got my Netflix going. Yay! But overall, yes, you I tend to occupy my days and think and reflect all day long. I don't need to study, I need to relax sometimes. And I find that there are some shows that I enjoy, especially another side of view that they have these actors doing. And I heard from my daughter, she said that she took a writing class, and in that class, they got all these characters written down. This character is this way, they have these likes, and each one. And when you explain the characteristics of the personality of the character you're writing about, the story literally writes itself. Interesting, huh? The the person may like coffee, they may like tea, they may like breads, they may like pizzas, they may like salads, the gym, or going hiking, or going to the movies, or going to the plays, or symphonies and baseball games, or whatnot. Depending on the person's likes and varieties, they actually, the whole scenario, the whole book can be written by just describing the people that are in that play or in the book. And I thought that was so interesting. And I would like to say if I applied it to what I have in my interests, I literally can map out with what I have in my home what I like. And if I describe my personality and what I like to do, I can literally say, map out my days. So that's kind of interesting. But being the light is something that we are to be. We're not to shy away from showing others our light, amplifying something, what we believe in. It actually helps us communicate better the direction that we may want to go when we describe light in our life, it's kind of like the light writing out the book. We find our purpose in being still and figuring those things out, what we enjoy. See, God gave us these special gifts in our lives that show who we are and where we're going and how it helps others. Some days, some people like an encouraging smile, and you gave one. Some people someday would like a word that helps them go, "What? Say that again?" Oh, changes and shifts the atmosphere from a darkness aspect to light. When somebody forgives you, it feels lighter. Your load is lighter. When you forgive someone, your mind clears up. Your heart is lighter. These light aspects in our life are beautiful, and they have a reward up in heaven someday. The kindness we show of ourselves to another. Sometimes we're too shy and we don't show kindness to another by being too shy. We don't show kindness to another if we're introverted and not say, when we see somebody hurting, we can say a kind word or just a smile. When we project ourselves and communicate with another, it may help somebody see a light better. They feel lighter inside. And that's what I'm talking about by being. One time I was reading in the Bible where it says, "Be aglow and burning with the Spirit while serving the Lord." And I went, "Be aglow." I was like, I didn't know how to be aglow. How do I be aglow? I was like, okay, how would I know what my name is? Cynthia Green. Well, yeah. When you were born, you didn't have a name. How'd you accept that name? I was told it was my name. Well, sometimes, somehow, you had to believe it and you accepted it. Was there any other way? You could have had another name. No, it was given to me. So you accepted it. Oh, okay. So you just accepted and believed that you were your name. And I was like, okay, well, I think I'll be that. I'll just, like, I accepted my name. And my parents told me, everybody says, and I answer to it. I'll just be a glow. I'll just go. And I was on my way to work, and somebody said, "You're glowing." And I go, "Oh, that was quick." And I went further, and somebody yelled really loud, "Oh my gosh, she's glowing." And I said, "Okay, God, I get it." The acceptance and the belief, trusting the source where it came from, that is important in becoming. You just be. Be hold, be still, be light, be who God says you are. These ideas and words that show another that is something that we can say, yes. You feel free to say hi and talk and communicate. And if any time, if I could be of any help or talk of something, I would love to chat. We are here to uplift, be a light, show others something that we're learning what God says to be. My language of being light, dan is the way of being. And way of being is what God says to be hospitable, to be gentle, kind, be excellent, be doers and not hearers only. And when you hear, listen, teach by showing the light. When you show another light, you're actually teaching another. When you're encamping in a situation, encamping meaning that you're thinking about something and you're just dwelling there, something may have happened and you're stuck in that place. You're encamping. And it may be traumatic or something that God did not intend to come about in your life. Things just happen to involve, and it may not be a good thing. And we went down that path and didn't realize that the outcome would be, oh, darkness. When we learn the decisions that we made, the mindset that we had, we can show another when they're questioning, when they're going that direction. We have something to say. When we see another hurting and they have questions like, which way should I go? What should I do? Should I go with that person or should I have this? So it's a welcome thing when you show the other person light, that you've been there, I've gone through that, and whatever the outcome, whatever it may be, good or bad, maybe it's a good thing that you guys are training for a marathon. How not to get a shin splint or what to wear from experience. When I first went to the gym, I was like clueless. It's like, what do I do? How do I don't want to get hurt by repetition and stuff. But when I went there and I did those things and I pulled a muscle because I exercised one thing too long and not the other, or the timing was off, I had to learn. It taught me by mistakes. I learned what hydration was, what minerals I needed, and the diet, especially the diet. When you're exercising and going to the gym, what machines to do what, and the outfit. You have to clothe yourself. Naturally, when we're a light, they see by our outward, how we prepared, our outward appearance. If we're a painter, something like that, they'll say, "Oh, I need my house painted." So you give an estimate and do all that. And you have painting clothes, and it shows somebody what you're doing. So it helps when you're about to clothe yourself. And as God's children, He says, be aglow, be full of joy, be calm, be still, be silent, be kind, do with excellence. It shows your fruit. They call that fruit. Your fruit shows up in all kinds of ways. There's peace in your house, there's peace around you, there is love apparent and joy. These things create an atmosphere that others can thrive in and learn just by being light, just by being who God says you should be. Others have the opportunity to learn and see and go, I can do this and this and this. Allow another to be themselves who God says they are and be the light where it shines, the direction that they should go according to God. And by reading the Bible, you get to learn how to be. And as you go and do that, it'll come like out of a habit by practice. It comes out naturally after a while. I like to talk about that. You become natural at something. It's just like, oh, you have the gift for that. It comes by practice. Your gift, whatever practice you've been doing, they'll say, oh, you know your craft. Well, it's from study and doing. So being the light, when you're learning something, it helps when you actually apply with experience, especially with computers, when you apply and study and do this by doing, hands on, they call it. So when you're hands on with what God says, it'll naturally come about the way He said it would. Like a kind word turns away wrath. Somebody will be angry, and your choice words, those light words, kind words, gentle words, will turn their anger into something else. That's one of the things that God says. Honey words are better than bitter words. And those are light words. Be grateful, praise God, think on these things, what is good, pure, and holy. And don't forget, He also says you can choose blessing or cursing, life or death, in our tongue, in our future. So the affirmations that we have in our life, we can choose those. They can show the way, the direction you're headed, your very words. Anybody can say, oh, just by talking with you in 5 minutes, they'll know where you'll end up, where you will be, just by the language, the terms, the words that you're using. That's interesting. Everybody has interests different from everyone else. Some have a lot in common, but you will find that people like variety. They like to hear good things, new things. They also like to hear familiar things from the other. And when you are around them and you're being the light, they'll be more comfortable, more at ease. I think the I wanted to talk about how being the light. I'm studying the word things this year in seek you first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you. What are the things of light? It is the very first word that God spoke when he created. It is the very first thing. Light be. It was the first day. And everything was in chaos. It was darkness. And so light comes before creation, before being creative, before purpose, before finding out who you are in Christ, who you are that God says you are. Light is something that is important. I'm really glad of my lighting, especially when I'm crocheting. Right now, I'm crocheting a blanket. But these are things that God says. And there is a good outcome. And He is showing the way because His plans for you are for your good and good success. So when He says, be the light, He will show you and bring you in front. If you ask, well, how can I be a light to somebody? He will show you who to be a light to. There will be days when you'll want to dwell in darkness. Oh, not today. I don't feel like it. But light will come and your mood will rise. Your attitude will wake up and say, today is a good day. It is a new day. I can rejoice and dwell in the land of excellence, dwell in the land of abundance. There is a good report in my day. By the end of the day, I shall write it down and say, this good thing happened. I have made my bed. I have straightened and ordered some things in my home, some things in my life. These good things are a light pattern. There's a mindset pattern with light in mind. Everything that is created has light in it. It's in everything, even in the rocks. I see when the light hits a rock, even the beach rocks that people say, oh, that's just a sediment rock. That's just a regular old rock. When you polish it, it shows light. When you put it in the light, it has glitter or glint in it, or however you describe sparkle. Even a plain old rock, it looks nice, especially when the light hits it in this way. I like to collect rocks. There are many things that I find in nature, and especially it roots you. It helps you come back and you breathe. It's kind of like getting a yoga exercise in or stretches. It's nice. But these are light aspects in life. They are a welcome reprieve. And what is light? God says, do not hide your light. So each person must have a light in them. And it's amazing. Anyways, I thought I would share this tonight to change our views to focus. Some people say that's $1 million view. What makes it $1 million view? Things, being. There could be the same $1 million view way out in Timbuktu. I came I came from the ocean views. There's beaches and views like that when I was growing up. They call it $1 million view. It is beautiful, scenic, peaceful, but whatever makes you smile, that is light. Whoever makes you smile, that is light. These things we are to think on what is good, what is pure, what is holy, or to open our minds and our eyes. You do have gifts and skills, and what are they? Hobbies? Things that you like that give you light. It brightens the room up when you're describing something that gives you light, that makes you happy. It's a joy. Thank you for being with me. I did make it to 30 minutes. I hope you have a good night. See you next time.